I believe that each of us comes from the Creator trailing wisps of glory. So at this wonderful young age of 65, I don't know yet what the Lord has for me to do. I try to live up to the energy and to the calling. But I wouldn't dare say I have even scratched the surface yet. I was very young in that little village in Arkansas, and there was a movie house downtown. Downtown consisted of one paved street. There was a movie house, and the girl who worked selling tickets lived on land my grandmother owned. And I knew for a fact that she and her family hadn't paid any rent for 3 years. They lived behind the town on our land. I went up to get a ticket. I may have been about 8 or 9. My grandmother was very religious and didn't believe in the movies. But once she allowed me and my brother, every now and again, we went up to get a ticket, and the girl took my dime, and she wouldn't put her hand on it. I put it down. She had a cigar box, and she took a card and raked my dime into the cigar box. Now, the white kids got tickets. She took their money, and she gave them little stubs. She didn't give us anything. She just motioned, which meant that we had to go up the side steps, outside steps, and crawl through a really crummy little door and sit pitched on these 3 or 4 benches to watch the movie. And all because I was black. And I thought, well, I don't think I'll be going to the movies a lot. So I decided to boycott the movies. There's a poem, listen to this. It was written by County Cullen. It's called Incident. Once riding in old Baltimore, head filled, heart filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean keep looking straight at me. Now, I was 8 and very small, and she was no whit bigger, and so I smiled. But she stuck out her tongue and called me I saw the whole of Baltimore from May until December. And of all the things that happened there, that's all that I remember. People feel guilty, and guilt is stymieing. Guilt immobilizes. Guilt closes the air ducts and the veins and makes people ignorant. And so because they're guilty, they can't just say, listen, I feel guilty about your past. I feel guilty that you have lived this life of slavery and blah, blah, and this. I feel guilty. So what they do is they say, I'm going to smash your face. I'm going to trip you when you start running down the hill. I'm going to keep you out of my neighborhood because I can't come face to face with my guilt. In many cases, that's what's operating underneath. I will not sit in a group of black friends and hear racial pejoratives against whites. I will not hear honky. I will not hear Jap. I will not hear kike. I will not hear greaser. I will not hear dago. I will not hear it. As soon as I hear it, I say, excuse me, I have to leave. Sorry. Or if it's in my home, I say, you have to leave. I can't have that. That is poison. And I know it is poison, and you're smearing it on me. I will not have it. Now, it's not an easy thing, and one doesn't all of a sudden sort of blossom into somebody who's courageous enough to say that. But you do start little by little. And you sit in a room and somebody says, if you're all white, and somebody says, well, the niggers, you may not have the courage right then, but you say, woo, my goodness, it's already 8 o'clock. I have to go, and leave. Little by little, you develop courage. You sit in a room and somebody says, well, you know what the Japs did then and what they're doing now. Say, I have to go. My goodness, it's already 6 o'clock. Leave. Continue to build the courage. Sooner or later, you'll be able to say out loud, just a minute, I defend that person. I will not have gay bashing, lesbian bashing, not in my company. I will not do it. When we talk about racism, we have to see that we're not just talking about acts against blacks. We're talking about vulgarities against any human being because of his race. This is vulgar. That's what it is. Whether it's an anti-Asian, whether it's the use of racial pejoratives about Jews, about Japanese, about Native Americans, about blacks, about Irish, it is stupid. Because what it is really is it is poison. It poisons the spirit, the human spirit. I know there are blacks who say, I can use the N-word because I mean it endearingly. I don't believe that. I believe it is vulgar and dangerous, given from any mouth to any ear. I know that if poison is in a vial, which says Poison and has a skull and the crossbones, that is poison. But if you pour the same thing into Bavarian crystal, it is still poison. So I think racism is vulgar, any way you cut it. There's a line in Hamlet in which Hamlet's stepfather, who is really his uncle, is being berated by Hamlet. And Hamlet says, and the king said to Hamlet, you must remember, every father had a father. Now what that really means is your parents are repeating what their parents told them, and their parents told them what had been told to them. Obviously, young man, you are breaking the mold. Thank God for that. So that when you have children, you will not tell the children what was told to you. This is the hope we have. This is why young people are the best we have and all we have. We have prayers and need and just terrible yearning that you young people will be able to break the mold. Process. And that's what I mean again about intelligence and its value. We have all believed the most outrageous things at different times in our lives. And as the position became untenable, as we saw through that position we were holding, here's where courage comes in. To be able to say everybody, you know what I said yesterday and said so fervently and said with such passion? Well, I don't believe that anymore. I've been changed. Now that is courage. So that is, you have the courage, the insight to see and the courage to say. That was Martin. That was Malcolm. That was it. There was a time when Malcolm espoused the belief that all whites were blue-eyed devils, but he took his life in his own hands when he said publicly that he had been to Mecca, and there he saw blonde, blue-eyed men whom he could call brothers. He said, so everybody, what I said was wrong. Now that took an incredible amount of courage to say that, because after he said it, he didn't live very long. He was killed after he said that, but he did see it and he said it. And that has to be, one has to salute him.